In the complex landscape of modern relationships, there exists a subtle yet profound danger, not in the woman who blatantly plays games, but in the one who is entirely unaware of her own manipulations. This archetype is not defined by the obvious markers of toxicity, but rather by a series of nuanced behaviors that, at first glance, can appear alluring, charming, or even empowering. Yet, beneath the surface, these patterns quietly dismantle your sense of peace and well-being, replacing stability with uncertainty and confusion. Understanding these subtle psychological dynamics is essential. This discussion is not about vilifying women or reinforcing stereotypes, but about recognizing ingrained behavioral patterns that can undermine the emotional health of both partners. By decoding these patterns, you can better protect your emotional energy, set healthier boundaries, and preserve your sense of self in any relationship. 1. Emotional entitlement. Disguised as high standards. Often, low-value behavior cloaks itself in the language of empowerment. When a woman repeatedly emphasizes her high standards or frequently claims to know her worth, it can initially sound self-assured and attractive. However, true self-worth is rooted in self-awareness and reciprocity, not in entitlement or demands for special treatment. This entitlement is a symptom of external validation dependency. Her self-esteem is shaped not by inner confidence, but by how much attention, effort, and sacrifice she can extract from others. She may expect unwavering loyalty and devotion, yet offer minimal emotional investment in return. This is not authentic confidence, but rather compensatory narcissism, a protective mechanism masking deeper insecurities. The telltale sign: watch her response to boundaries or the simple word no. A genuinely self-assured woman respects limits. A low-value woman perceives them as personal rejection and retaliates with emotional withdrawal, passive aggression, or silence. This is not love. It is control masquerading as self-respect. 2. Addiction to drama. When calm feels like boredom. For some, emotional intensity is not just exciting, it's necessary. The low-value woman is often subconsciously addicted to drama because inner peace feels unfamiliar or even threatening. When things are calm, she may manufacture conflict, conjuring arguments from thin air, sowing suspicion, or orchestrating emotional tests. This pattern is rooted in intermittent reinforcement, the same psychological principle that makes gambling addictive. Her formative experiences may have taught her that love is synonymous with tension and unpredictability. As a result, she craves the adrenaline rush of reconciliation after chaos, confusing emotional volatility with genuine connection. The result: you may find yourself constantly questioning your actions, striving to appease her moods, and mistaking anxiety for affection. Emotional depth is substituted with emotional turbulence, and unless you recognize this cycle, you risk being swept up in a relentless emotional roller coaster. 3. The perpetual victim complex. One of the most insidious red flags is the perpetual victim narrative. The low-value woman consistently frames herself as the innocent party, betrayed by friends, mistreated by exes, underappreciated at work. This worldview reflects an external locus of control, where responsibility is always deflected outward and accountability is perpetually avoided. This dynamic is dangerous because it subtly recruits you as a rescuer. You become entangled in her dramas, over-functioning to solve her problems and constantly proving your loyalty. Yet, paradoxically, the more you try to help, the more she may resent you, because your support inadvertently highlights her sense of helplessness. Ultimately, when things go awry, the blame inevitably falls on you. Listen carefully to how she recounts her past. If every story positions her as the blameless hero surrounded by villains, recognize this as a red flag. This is not the voice of someone healing from trauma, but someone addicted to a narrative of victimhood. 4. Avoidance of accountability, the ego's armor. A hallmark of emotional immaturity is the inability to accept responsibility for one's actions. The low-value woman often shields her fragile ego by denying wrongdoing, rewriting events, or gaslighting those around her. A simple disagreement can escalate into reality distortion, where you are left questioning your own perceptions. This behavior stems from cognitive dissonance avoidance, the psychological discomfort of confronting one's own flaws. To preserve her self-image, she will twist facts, deflect criticism, and project blame. Over time, you may find yourself apologizing for things you didn't do or shrinking your own needs to placate her. Remember, a mature individual reflects and grows. An emotionally immature person deflects and blames. Your peace depends on resisting the urge to argue with someone whose self-worth is threatened by being wrong. 5. Emotional immaturity, masked by charm. Charm and flirtation are not substitutes for emotional maturity. The low-value woman may excel at seduction and social interaction, yet struggle with basic emotional skills. Her coping mechanisms are often juvenile. The silent treatment replaces honest discussion, attention-seeking takes the place of vulnerability, and defensiveness stands in for self-reflection. This often stems from arrested emotional development, frequently rooted in inconsistent or conditional affection during childhood. Vulnerability is seen as a liability, so she relies on performance and control to feel secure. Attention, not genuine connection, becomes her emotional lifeline. Watch how she handles conflict. Does she seek resolution or merely a reaction? True emotional depth is measured by the willingness to engage in uncomfortable but necessary conversations, not by the ability to captivate or distract. 6. Weaponizing femininity. True feminine energy is about nurturing and authenticity, not manipulation. The low-value woman may use her femininity as a strategic tool, wielding seduction, vulnerability, and sensitivity to influence, evade accountability, or gain advantage. This is not authentic softness or empathy. It is instrumental behavior designed to achieve specific outcomes. Such tactics are a form of psychological manipulation, turning your genuine desire for connection into a vulnerability to be exploited. If you notice affection and support are only offered when it benefits her, recognize this pattern early and set firm boundaries. A high-value woman cultivates peace and partnership. A low-value woman weaponizes her feminine qualities for personal gain. 7. Envy, disguised as independence. Perhaps the most covert pattern is the illusion of independence. The low-value woman may pride herself on being self-sufficient, declaring that she doesn't need anyone. However, this is often a defense mechanism rooted in insecure attachment, specifically the avoidant type. True independence is secure and collaborative. False independence collapses under the weight of emotional discomfort. When faced with perceived abandonment or rejection, her facade gives way to possessiveness, jealousy, and reactivity. Her self-worth becomes entangled in competition, comparison, and constant testing of your loyalty. Genuine high-value individuals celebrate the success and happiness of others. The low-value mindset, in contrast, is fueled by envy and comparison, ensuring that no one, herself included, ever truly wins. Protecting your energy. Practical strategies. Recognizing these patterns is the first step in protecting yourself. The next is action. 1. Release the impulse to fix or rescue. You cannot heal someone who clings to pain as an identity. 2. Set and enforce clear emotional boundaries. Boundaries are not barriers, they are filters, allowing only healthy connections to flourish. 2. Prioritize consistency over charm. Observe actions and patterns, not just words or promises. 3. Safeguard your peace. Love should enrich your life, not destabilize it. 4. Differentiate between attraction and alignment. Sometimes what feels magnetic is merely a reflection of your own wounds, not your true needs. Ultimately, the low-value woman does not necessarily destroy through malice, but through unhealed wounds and unresolved patterns. Protect your energy with the same seriousness you protect your physical well-being, because, in the end, your emotional health is just as vital. Finally, relationships are powerful mirrors. They can reveal not only the truth about others, but also about ourselves, our boundaries, our needs, and our capacity for self-respect. By understanding and recognizing the subtle signs of low-value behavior, you empower yourself to choose connections that honor your well-being. Guard your peace, nurture your standards, and remember, true love is never built on manipulation, drama, or control.